Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom One, and I am Barack with another video. You know what you got to do: rate, comment, subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you'll know when my next live stream or video goes down. All right. This is like, even though I saw a lot of people post this on their blogs and on their YouTube channels, Twitter, Instagram, whatever social media device anyone use to post information, but I've been talking about this for the past couple of weeks, ever since the free agency period when Kawhi ultimately chose the Los Angeles Clippers instead of the Los Angeles Lakers. And remember, in a live stream, I talked about how Kawhi Leonard's family members wanted a meeting with the Lakers to include Magic Johnson. And I told you the reason, and I gave you background because of that, because, the uncle has a relationship with Magic Johnson, all right? I don't know if a lot of people remember that when I talked about that a couple of weeks back, and I thought it was kind of spooky. They already know Magic Johnson is no longer representing the Los Angeles Lakers as president of basketball operations. And basically, the family member reported this. The only way we was going to have a meeting with the Los Angeles Lakers, the only way it was going to happen and transpire if Magic Johnson was in attendance, okay? And I also talked to you guys about how I felt like ultimately Kawhi Leonard was just playing around with the Los Angeles Lakers. He never fully attended. He never fully committed in a decision of joining the Los Angeles Lakers, because I also told you guys on social media, as well as on this same channel, that Kawhi Leonard had experiences on a super team. He was he was drafted to the San Antonio Spurs when they had Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not really a super team when you compare it to super teams in NBA history. But nevertheless, basketball-wise, that was a super team, all right? Even though they didn't sign these players from other teams, they drafted them within. And I told you guys how I felt like Kawhi Leonard did not want to be in another situation like that, okay? Because of, creative decisions and the direction where the team is going. And ultimately, it was going to be politics behind behind everything. And I think that's the main reason why he wanted to leave San Antonio, because of the atmosphere and the politicking that was going around with Coach Popovich, the San Antonio Spurs organization, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili. He wanted to get away from that. And that's why he felt more comfortable with the Toronto Raptors, because that was truly his team, okay? He didn't have an underboss. He didn't have to worry about politics, okay? He wanted to be a controlling factor in a franchise, particularly when it relates to decisions, okay, on the court. I don't think Kawhi Leonard's the type of individual that wanted to make full decisions on who's going to be on the roster, who's going to be out on the roster, okay? But that was one of the requirements. And I also talked to you guys about how when he ultimately chose the Clippers, remember I told you guys a lot of people were counting the Clippers out. Okay, the Clippers are not even, in the discussion as far as who Kawhi Leonard was ultimately going to pick. And you heard all the talking heads talk about, well, it's down to two teams, the Lakers or the Raptors. And I felt like in both of those scenarios, I didn't think those were decisions. I mean, those were options that he was going to ultimately decide, okay? And one of the caveats in him ultimately choosing the Clippers is he pretty much dictated who his running mate was going to be, Paul George. And you got to give the Clippers a lot of credit in being very creative in getting Paul George, because the Oklahoma City Thunder did not have to trade Paul George. They had plenty of years on that contract, okay? But I felt like it was beneficial for the Oklahoma City Thunder as well as the Clippers, because the Oklahoma City Thunder saw the writing on the wall. They cannot compete with this current structure of teams that transpired in the last in the last few weeks. They saw the writing on the wall. Even with Paul George and Russell Westbrook, they never thought that they was going to beat the Houston Rockets, the Golden State Warriors, even without KD, the Lakers, what they was doing with Anthony Davis. They felt like they was not one of the top 5 teams, okay? And the furthest they ever got with this group of players, was the first round. So Sam Presti wanted to hit the reset button and start all over again, rebuild, as well as Paul George, okay? And remember, I told you guys, Paul George wasn't the only one that wanted to trade away from Oklahoma City Thunder. Russell Westbrook did as well. Now, what does all of this mean? Okay, and we're going to get into the actual meat of the crutch of the story. And there's a report going out on Bleacher Report that suggests that there's an NBA team that was close in the negotiation process with Kawhi Leonard and his representative team, as well as his uncle, that they was asking for things that were deemed illegal, okay? As far as trying to land Kawhi Leonard. They was asking for sponsorship deals. They was asking for homes, cars, and they was also asking for some type of financial money, as well as the contract as well. So they got money under the table. And this team, who's going to name themselves nameless, but if you connect the dots, okay, there was only really one team that had sour grapes. And I told you guys a couple of weeks back how, remember the story about the Lakers, felt like they was being played by Kawhi Leonard, okay? That's the team that's leaking out this information that, Kawhi Leonard and his representatives, his uncle, was asking for things that would be deemed illegal to ask for, other than a contract, okay? So if you connect the dots, we already know it's the Los Angeles Lakers, because they feel like they got sour grapes. They felt like they was left at the altar. And I told you guys a couple of live streams ago how, if the Los Angeles Lakers were just worried about the Los Angeles Lakers, sure, try to land Kawhi Leonard, but you have to give yourself a timetable. And if nothing transpires with your conversations with Kawhi Leonard, you're going to have to move on. And there was a lot of available players that they could have signed, that they could have traded for, okay, to make that team better, okay? Kyle Korver, who was on waivers a couple of days ago, signed with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, why is that important and relevant to this live stream? Allow a brother to explain. Kyle Korver used to play for the Cleveland Cavaliers and used to play with LeBron James, okay? He's off. I mean, anybody can sign him. Why did he choose the Bucks? And particularly has a relationship with LeBron James, and he also sees what the Lakers have done thus far in the process. He could have signed a hometown discount to hook up with his running mate, but he chose the Milwaukee Bucks, okay? Yet again, when people say, LeBron James, a lot of people throw this on LeBron James. He can't get players to come play along with him. And then people use the example, well, what about Anthony Davis? He got Anthony Davis, okay? And the only way he could gotten Anthony Davis is his agency had to represent Anthony Davis, okay? So you have to understand the dynamics in that type of partnership and in that type of relationship. It's not like he got somebody from another team that he has no affiliation with, or as far as representing that player, it's not like he pulled somebody from that dynamic. He had to basically he had to establish a relationship with Anthony Davis by allowing Clutch Sports to represent him, okay? So if you pay attention to a lot of this stuff, you will slowly but surely figure out that the team that's, if you want to call it, ratting out as far as Kawhi Leonard and his representative. I think it's more so of his. I think it's more so of his uncle asking for this additional stuff. And I felt like the Lakers feel like the girl who wasn't asked to go to the prom, and now she feel like she's being betrayed. So now the Lakers and the organization is leaking this information out. Okay, they're left standing at the altar with nothing in hand. Okay, they didn't land Kawhi Leonard, and I told you guys in previous live streams, I don't think Kawhi Leonard is built that way where he wants to hook up with another superstar and form a super team, because he was on a team similar like that when you talk about the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, so if you connect the dots, you clearly know who's been doing a lot of talking. And if you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, they've been burned by a lot of their decision making, mostly by when he had Magic Johnson as president of basketball operation. Remember, Magic was fined several times for tampering with players, communicating and talking with players from other teams. Okay, and the Lakers are looking at it like, yo, wait a minute, if we're getting burned, okay, and if we're paying fines just because of the simple fact Magic Johnson is communicating with other players from different teams, and maybe some of the conversations were not trying to join the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's just be fair and be honest with Magic Johnson. But at the same time, if they're getting fined for that, and you don't really have no hardcore evidence other than what Magic Johnson said, and you take it for face value, and you're quick to find Magic Johnson, but you're not quick to look into the matter of Kawhi Leonard, his representatives, and his uncle. Remember, for this to be a fine for the Clippers, they will have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that it happened. A, and B, is the uncle really representing Kawhi Leonard in a professional basis as an agent? Okay, and that's where that's where the road meets the rubber. The rubber meets the road. Excuse me. And I feel like ultimately nothing's going to transpire, nothing's going to happen. And I guarantee you guys in the next couple of weeks, the NBA is going to half-heartedly look at it, because the NBA knows that you really can't prove this unless the uncle just comes out on social media and say, yeah, he asked for those things. Even if he did say, yeah, I asked for those things, at the end of the day, he does not represent Kawhi Leonard as an agent. And that's why this breaking news, sort of say, last week is, it's mostly sour grapes from the Los Angeles Lakers perspective, because they was left hanging at the altar. Not only they didn't get Kawhi Leonard, but they also did not get any other free agents that could better the roster. Okay, they had to settle for other players, the other players that they ultimately signed. Okay, and if if the Lakers have anyone to be mad at or upset at, they should be looking in the mirror and be mad at themselves, because I felt like the Lakers felt like they got Kawhi Leonard. Okay, they was ultimately going to sign Kawhi Leonard. Okay, and I also told you guys on several options, I didn't feel like Kawhi Leonard was going to sign with another super team, and he definitely was not going to sign with LeBron James, because as long as LeBron James is a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, he's the face. He's sort of the brand of the Los Angeles Lakers, and Kawhi would never get the credit if they ultimately won a championship. They would give the credit to LeBron James, and then they'll talk about how he's not selfish. He's willing to play with other talented players that's on his level. They will be singing his praises and give no praises to Kawhi Leonard. Okay. And I felt like Kawhi Leonard wanted his own team, and he wanted his own running mate. Okay. And Anthony Davis is not no scrub. I mean, but At the same time, he did not want to play under those circumstances with the Los Angeles Lakers. If the Los Angeles Lakers would have, if they had no LeBron James, and somehow, some way they traded for Anthony Davis, got him, and then I felt like Kawhi Leonard would be interested in the Lakers and sign with the Los Angeles Lakers, and then everything would be I feel like the free agency period would be vastly different than what you see transpiring in front of you right now. Okay, so I wanted to get that out there. I wanted to connect the dots, so to say, and explain to you guys not only who's orchestrating this Kawhi Leonard's representatives were asking more than just a contract. They was they was wanting guaranteed sponsorship deals. They wanted cars. They wanted homes, and they some money was also involved that they could have thrown their weight under the table. And when you're dealing with a billionaire and Steve Ballmer, who owns the Los Angeles Clippers, that's just chump change to him. He can easily do that with no problems. But I feel like Steve Ballmer has integrity. I feel like Jerry West has integrity. And I feel like as long as those, and as well as Doc Rivers, they would not sell their integrity just to land Kawhi Leonard. They would love to have him. Okay, but I don't think they would go as far as doing something under the table, so to say, just to get Kawhi Leonard. Because if that was proven to be true, Steve Ballmer will be in a lot of hot water. Jerry West, it will tarnish his legacy as an executive, okay, in the business sense of sports business. Okay, people will be looking at him side-eye. People be looking at him differently. And Doc Rivers will suffer as well, because a lot of people presume Doc Rivers to be this guy who who has integrity, who's not going to sell short himself or the organization or others. Okay, Doc Rivers is not the type of person that would cheat his way as far as getting a championship. So I don't think nothing transpired illegally with the Los Angeles Clippers, and this is going to be proven in the next couple of weeks, that after the NBA do their half-hearted investigation. I mean, they're not even going to really dig deep into this. They're just probably going to ask, they're probably just going to go to the Clippers organization and, ask them what happened, what transpired, maybe talk to Kawhi's representative, what happened, what transpired, and then they're going to see if all the stories match, if the timeline matches, and pretty much that's it. It's probably going to take less than 4 hours to figure this thing out. But in their mind, in their logic, nothing transpired, nothing has happened, and I feel like it's sour grapes for the Los Angeles Lakers. And this is going to put yet again another. It's going to be a small blemish, because then people are going to call the Lakers as sore losers. Okay, you guys were trying 2 years ago. You was talking to players that were under contract with other teams, and you felt like that was no problem. You got fined for that, and then this coming year, now you feel like you're the victim, basically from another team doing illegal practices, what you guys did 2 years ago, and now you feel like the victim all of a sudden. So I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think anything's going to transpire. Guys, tell me what you think. Hit me up in the comment section. Follow me on Twitter. That's where the real magic is happening, even though I didn't tweet as much yesterday. Your boy was mad busy. It's your boy. I'm Chris Adam 1, and I am out. Deuces, guys.